everyone, and welcome back to the School for Professional Dog Listeners. Today I'm sitting down with my wonderful co-founder Julie for a conversation that I hope is going to be a bit of a light bulb moment for some of you, many of you hopefully. We often talk about how dog listening is about changing the human's behaviour to change the dog's behaviour. But today we're going a little bit deeper. We're going to explore what's happening beneath that behaviour, in our minds and in our hearts. Julie's going to share her journey with something called the inside out understanding. And it's a perspective that helped her move through her own struggles with high anxiety and panic attacks. And it's something that allowed her to connect more deeply with dogs, but more importantly, their owners as well, on a much more profound level. So if you've ever felt stuck with your dog or felt like your own stress was hitting a wall, this conversation could be for you. So, Julie, I'm really glad we're going to be diving into this today. Perhaps we can start off, can I ask you first to explain what you mean by this inside out understanding?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Ali. Yes, the inside out understanding that literally changed my world about 7 or 8 years ago is essentially it's kind of a universal truth, which I don't want anyone to take my word for that, but just to have a look and check it out for themselves. And it's the understanding that we experience the world through ourselves, from our inside ourselves, whether like our thinking, our emotions. And we then, that's how we kind of navigate the world really from inside ourselves. And when we can see that everybody is doing that same thing, it can be really liberating because it just takes the personal out of it. Because we can see that the reason somebody might be doing something that you find annoying is because that's how it looks to them. It makes perfect sense to them. And my favorite example is that you can, I mean, you can, there's loads of examples, but if you want to kind of go, well, Julie, I'm not so sure about that because it really looks like my husband is annoying me. And it looks like he is the problem and it's nothing to do with me. So let's take something a little bit more neutral than that might be. And we look at going on a plane, for example. So you're sitting on a plane and you might be somebody that finds planes really difficult. You don't like the height, you don't like the confinement, the movement, you just don't like the experience. And so you're sitting there kind of holding on, and every movement and every noise, you're like, oh God. And then you look around and you're like, not everybody seems to be experiencing this external environment in the same way that I am. What's going on there? Like, why are they not scared of the plane? Why are they sitting there, enjoying their gin and tonic and reading their book and just chilling out? And so, if we use that example to anything that's annoying, um, be it your husband or your dog, for example, then you can start to see that, okay, maybe this is coming from me. And when it's coming from you, rather than getting all judgy and like, oh, well, everything's my fault then, it's like, well, let's just look at that and think, well, maybe we're liberated. Maybe that's really empowering because it means then we have the choice. We can choose the experience that we want to have in real time, not in the future and not in history, but right here, right now. We can choose. We have that choice. We have that free will.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's really what I'm talking about when I refer to the inside out understanding. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, I think so. And when you say choose, is it because we are acknowledging what we're seeing and what we are experiencing, so that that immediately kind of lessens the anxiety around it, so we're able to choose how to respond?
Yeah, I think for me, what it's given me is an awareness that sometimes I feel bad in certain situations and sometimes I don't. And the situation can be the same. So I actually, with dogs, so say your dog's like excessively barking and you come home and you're just like, oh my God, this is like, right, we're gonna have to get rid of the dog. It's too much. It's the end of the world. And other days you're just back from holiday and you're feeling really chill. The dog's doing the same behavior,
Mm.
but you're really chill about it. So that's where it's about getting curious as to what's different there
Aha.
and knowing that you can't change your thinking because once it's out, like once you notice it, it's there, it's kind of done. You can't really do anything with it at that point, but you can know that there's going to be a new one coming along in a minute. And so when we stop that resistance to what is and just allow it to move on through like a cloud would go past all the thinking and all the emotions that go with the thinking, push on through,
Mm.
then there's really nothing left for us to do other than to kind of acknowledge it and go, oh yeah, I'm in that place. I know I'm in that place of not feeling good because I can feel it in my body. And I know I can feel it. I know.
Yeah.
And then you can course correct. You can either go on with that. And usually if you're not aware, you're just kind of on autopilot and you think that that's the only option. That's just how it is.
Mm.
Plain's bad. Well, what if it's not planes
Mm.
bad? What if there is other options there? And we kind of know there is because we could see people around us and go, oh, they seem to be fine. It
Yeah.
just opens up a world of possibility.
It feels to me very much like we're practicing being present and in the present moment, which obviously reminds me of our dogs. And
Yes.
so, do you think this is the same for our dogs? This inside out understanding.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not a dog and I don't know exactly what they're feeling, but we do have a pretty good idea of how they're feeling by their behavior. We can tell when a dog is feeling uncomfortable. It's not too difficult to know. Everybody listening to this who's got their own dog, I'm very confident, knows when their dog is feeling uncomfortable. Whether we label it stress, anxiety, excitement, whatever, it's an uncomfortable feeling for them. And so we do know that they have that, which is the same as us. And we know that they go up and down the same as us. Their tolerance levels go up and down the same as us. For me, they just seem way better at not staying with the thing, like they just, as I say, this is observation, but they just seem to be able to move on very quickly. They can, like the doorbell can go, they can go nuts and then they'll fast asleep like 3 minutes later. And so it's like, okay, well, they obviously have that same capacity of up and down that we have.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's really, I find it really helpful. It helps me um, connect, or I mean, I've always really been able to connect with them, but really understand that there's something going on within them that's causing them to feel something. And so, yes, we can look at the environment and we can change things. Of course, we can do that. But really, there's more to it than that because it's like how they're feeling inside. It's the root cause of the problem,
Yeah.
which is where the dog listening, and because I had done dog listening for kind of 20 years before I came across the inside out understanding. And immediately there was a resonance there for me. I was like, oh, I've now got language for what was going on that I had seen in the dogs, but I hadn't seen it in humans.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. And so, when you did see it in humans, did it help you in your working life, working with dogs and their humans?
Yes, 100%. It just freed me up to just really connect with people where they are and not try to change anything. I could just see, I think I could just see they were just doing the best they can. Everyone's doing the best they can. The dogs are doing the best they can given their situation. Every human is doing the best they can given their situation. Now, we might not like what a human is doing, and quite often we don't. But what I see now is that we're all doing the best we can. We're given thinking and the environment that we find ourselves in. And when we see that, because we can't, if we're all living in separate realities, which we clearly are, then we can't not be doing the best we can. We're only ever doing what we think is the appropriate thing to do. And if we can look at that for ourselves and maybe people close to us and then spread it further, and looking at people around the world, we start to have compassion, we start to have empathy, where it's very difficult to find compassion and empathy for some of the things that are going on in the world. And then, so with my clients, when I was doing dog listening before the inside out understanding, I used to get frustrated because I was like, well, why don't you just do what I know is going to help your dog? Like, just do it. And then I was like, okay, well, if it's not this person on the outside that's causing the problem, and it's my thinking about it, and I know they're doing the best they can, well, then there's no problem. The problem disappears because I'm like, oh, well, they're just doing the best that they can. And so then I can connect with them at that level, at that soul level, and we connect. And then we can start having a conversation about possibility and about what's going on for our dogs, that our dogs are just doing the best they can. So it just, honestly, it just opened up a whole new world. It was like dog listening on steroids or something. I don't know.
It's lovely because it feels like it's removing that sort of those barriers that stop us connecting, like just what annoys us.
Yeah.
And when we're annoyed, we get stuck, don't we? Yeah.
100%, exactly that. When we're annoyed and when we're frustrated, we're stuck. We just can't see possibility. We can't see hope. We can't see different ways. We're stuck. And knowing that that stuckness is going to move on all by itself, given the way that it seems to work for our dogs by observation, and the way that I've seen it works for myself and other people that I've worked with in that way, in the inside out understanding way, it just makes life a lot more fun because you don't stay stuck for long. I mean, I'm not saying we don't get stuck. Of course we get stuck. That's the whole point. Otherwise, how would you know good from bad? You wouldn't know it, would you? You kind of have to have it to know it. So yeah, I think, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. It's the surrender to that stuckness and just allowing it to move through you in the way that a cloud would do, and the way that I believe our dogs are experts at. I mean, they're amazing. It's why we can rescue them. It's why they can come into our worlds having never experienced anything like it, and find their place and find their way and really yeah, really settle down and enjoy life.
Have you got an example to illustrate the connection between dog listening and the inside out understanding?
Yes, I do. I do have one that actually is my favorite one to illustrate how I saw the connection very quickly early on between dog listening, because when we so classic dog barking at the door. Yeah, doorbell barking or just kind of barking at anything going past the house. We have a little technique in dog listening that is really, really helpful. And it really illustrates how we come at things from the dog's perspective, from that understanding that the dog is not being naughty. So the traditional way would be shut up, be quiet, don't do that. Or maybe distract with a food reward or something and take them out of the room. That we did kind of move into that. But what we do as dog listeners is we actually say thank you, because we know that the dog is feeling worried about this doorbell or someone walking past. And we know that because they're barking like that, animatedly barking. And we know that they're trying to tell us something. They're trying to talk to us, actually. And so instead of saying no or be quiet, whatever, we're understanding that that is how they are feeling. And from their world, from their inside out understanding, they're like, well, there's something out there. It's really scary, and it could hurt us. It could harm us.
Mm.
So they bark, and then we say thank you. And so I love that one because it really, really shows the difference between dog listening and pretty much anything else I've ever come across, is that we really are going deep with the dog. And just um, for information's sake, when you after you've said thank you, the first time you do that, it's unlikely that your dog will just go, oh yeah, okay, fine. Sometimes happens, but not always. So then you can go and take a look. So you can really get into deeper connection with your dog, and you go and take a look and you say to your dog, not looking at them, but you say to them, you're kind of looking at it and you're going, it's fine, there's no problem. We don't need to worry about this. And then finally, if they still keep barking, which they will in the beginning, we need to teach them that we're listening now. Then we would take them away from the problem to allow them time to just reflect and calm down. And so, yeah, that's my favorite example.
I love it. I love teaching and talking about barking and why a dog barks and this lovely way we have to deal with it. And that moment when you're starting with your dog, with thanking and looking, we actually, it'd be interesting for anybody watching to give it a try and see, but you get direct feedback from them because they're immediately like, oh, you're understanding and you're communicating with me. I often get dogs going, what do you think? Can you see? Obviously they're not speaking. This is what they're sort of doing. They're watching what we think of what they're alerting us to do. And it feels like a team. It feels like we're working together. And then we simply walk away and they go, cool, I'll come with you. That's the plan. But as you say, there's sometimes some more teaching in there. But yeah, great example. Thank you. It's just so reassuring actually to realise that understanding that we're all just doing the best we can with the thinking that we have in the moment. It's quite a peaceful thought, that when you think about it. And our dogs are doing exactly the same. So when we move from fixing or trying to fix to empathizing, that bark at the door stops being such a nuisance and starts being more of a conversation that's much more helpful. So we know from years of experience that while this understanding is a huge piece of the puzzle, most dogs truly thrive when all four elements of dog listening are working together. It's that combination of mindset and method that creates the lasting magic that we see every day. So I want to leave you with a little challenge this week. If you're watching this and you're up for a challenge, the next time your dog does that thing that usually frustrates you, just take a pause and just ask yourself, if they're not doing this to annoy me, what are they trying to tell me? And just observe how that shift in your own thinking changes the energy in the room, and see what you come up with. So if this conversation resonated with you, please do hit the subscribe button, give the video a like if you wouldn't mind. It really helps us reach more people who are looking for a kinder, deeper way to live with dogs. And if you're already ready to take this journey further, you can check out the links below to learn more about our school, the School for Professional Dog Listeners. So thanks very much for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, Sally.